Welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. Every human being wants to be happy, but many of us are trying to create that happiness, not knowing that it's already within us. We project that a job or promotion will complete us. We feel the relative to be absolute. How do we get rid of the ego once and for all? In this episode, Vivekji teaches us 5 crucial steps on our journey to happiness. Let's tune in.
Hariom and greetings from Niagara Falls. Vedasya cha Ishvara Atmavat. In English, the spirit of Bhagavan is the Veda. The Veda is described in many ways. The Veda can be described as the word of Bhagavan. Another way, the breath of Bhagavan. This particular teaching is the spirit of Bhagavan, the center of Bhagavan. We are all lucky that we have a path to reach the center of Bhagavan. That path is the Veda. And that's what this course is about. It's only looked at differently. All of the words that we're flowing through, they all relate to the Veda. We are lucky because we have a system. If one were to try to find their way to the center of God, how would you do it? We do have a system. Our pata to moksha. Headspace 81. Upadesha. In English, advice. Advice is unique because though it comes from the outside, you feel this on the inside. As if you're telling yourself this advice. And when you tell yourself advice, it's harder to reject. It's harder to not follow. Comparatively, adesha, which means instruction or command, that comes from the outside, and you feel this outside. When someone tells you, do this, that command, that instruction, it's coming from outside, and you may do it, but you certainly don't feel that coming from within. That's not natural. Upadesha. Headspace 82. Mahavakya. Mahavakya in English, revelation. What this feels like, what is already there is revealed. Playing on the word revelation, there's a revealing that's happening. Revealing is very different than creating. What is revealed to us is the source of joy. We stop trying to create joy. A way you know that you're shifting from creating joy to revealing joy is you become more inward looking. More directly, I would use the word introvert, but some of us still haven't understood the power of this virtue to be introvert. Headspace 83, Shravana. In English, inspiration. When I feel this is the message that I need for my life. The message inspires one. For those in Meaningful Mornings, the first 3 verses of chapter 7 are very much about inspiration. To grow up from being a searcher to being a seeker. Headspace 84, manana, in English, reflection. This is the message, and by reflecting on it, this message becomes real. Those who do not reflect on that inspiration, it is a lovely message, but they never feel it applies to them. They postpone. This may apply to me a decade from now, a lifetime from now. And Headspace 85, nididhyasana. In English, contemplation. This is such a beautiful sequence. Your guide gives you, and maybe a better word is offers you, upadesha. What form does this upadesha take in? Mahavakya. It's revealing. What do we do then? We are inspired. We reflect on this. We contemplate on this. The word nididhyasana comes from nitaram dhyaihi. Dhyaihi means to think, to keep inside of you. Nitaram means perpetually. There are no excuses not to be feeling this upadesha in the form of a mahavakya. More specifically, the words that I've just shared with you, if you want to be a contemplator, if you want to practice contemplation, it begins with purification. Your lifestyle, your day has to be oriented towards purifying yourself. What that feels like, your mind is becoming quieter. When your mind is critically quiet, then next we have to engage in preparation. From purification to preparation. Preparation is when we tend to matters like our room, matters like our senses. I will explain more about that soon. But from purification to preparation, you're preparing to contemplate. Next, and this is what contemplation is, it is personalization. The upadesha in the form of a mahavakya, you're personalizing that. You're personifying that. Contemplation is when you change who you are from the one who's trying to create joy to the one who's being joy. And that leads to the fourth, it's not a step, it's more of a plateau, perfection. You then have the experience of a perfect happiness. It's your nature, it can never change. So remember those 4 P's. Purification is your lifestyle. Preparation is more immediate, this controlled environment. Contemplation itself is personalization. And if all of this is checked off, perfection. I hope all of you, or the majority of you, joined me for Meaningful Mornings when we invested 54 days into personalization. In which case, everything I've shared, you're already accustomed to that. For those who missed out on this most precious opportunity, there's another framework that's coming right now that is similar to Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. The message is real and personal. Headspace 86. Vichara. Vichara in English, inquiry. Please note I'm saying inquiry with an I, not enquiry with an E. Enquiry is like being extrovert. Inquiry is like being introvert. The word vichara comes from the root vich. Does anyone remember what vich stands for in English? Vich means to know, to discern, to filter. Vich means to filter, that there's two entities, or at least two entities, and I'm filtering away all of them other than one. I had explained this to you when we flowed through viveka, and I said vich is where the English word which came from. Which path do I take? There is a most lovely saying in Vedanta. I'm going to share it to you. And many of you have heard this from me or in different ways. Avichara krito bandhaha. Please write this. Please write it in your mind. Avichara krito bandhaha vicharena nivartate. Vicharena nivartate. What this means. Avichara, the one who does not think. Kritaha, that is the cause for bandhaha. Their bondage, their stress, their anxiety, their dejection, it is all because of not thinking. Pujya Guruji would describe this as wrong thinking, because we all think, but we think wrongly. Vicharena, which again means to think, but here right thinking. Vicharena nivartate, one becomes free. No more dejection, no more anxiety, no more stress. There is great power in vichara or inquiry or right thinking. Zooming into this more, the more vichara you practice, the less vikshepa you practice. Can you all remind me what vikshepa means in English? Projection, that's right. The more you reflect, the less you project. We tend to take projections to an extreme, like I'm projecting in a hallucination way, or I'm projecting reality onto that which is changing. But we do this in very common ways, like labeling people, judging people, making presumptions of people. That's all a projection. But if you just slow down and engage in right thinking, you understand yourself more, you understand that person more. You appreciate that there's two sides to every story. When we start to curtail vikshepa, what happens is we're taking away what the ego survives on. The ego survives on the idea that you can create joy. That's a projection, correct? I'm projecting joy onto my profession. That's me creating joy. But if I practice right thinking that my profession cannot create joy for me, then my ego can't go anywhere. It's no longer thriving. Now it's just in survival mode. And that's why there's more than vichara, but vichara really shifts the ego from thriving to just surviving. Fine? Vichara. It's a really pleasant name. 87, advaita. Advaita in English, oneness. I'd shared with all of you, I'm giving you another framework. I'm only presenting a framework from Vedanta. This vichara is like upadesha. The Mahavakya is like advaita. Advaita means oneness. Sanatana Dharma is a monotheistic polytheism. And I'm going to add an element here. Sanatana Dharma is a religion. Many people say Sanatana Dharma is not a religion, it's a way of life. What do you think a religion is supposed to be? We shouldn't dilute subjects just so people will like us and what we say more. That's like immature parenting, isn't it? A religion naturally should be one's way of life. It is a philosophy, it is a practice, it is a vision, it is a mission. Sanatana Dharma is a monotheistic polytheism, which means oneness is expressed as manyness. And what's awesome about this, that's reality. The world is a manyness that comes from a oneness like colors. Light has no color, then it assumes a whiteness, and then it turns into a rainbow. Yes? Monotheistic polytheism. Everyone write down in the chat what they ate for lunch. Tell me what you ate for lunch. Idli. Oh, I haven't had idli in a long time. Salad. I haven't had salad in a long time either. Tofu scramble, samosas, ravioli. I had a grilled cheese sandwich with vegan cheese and a poutine with vegan cheese also. I'm sort of a mind reader. I already knew what you ate for lunch. I only would have described it as earth. Yes? Sambar is earth, correct? Idli is earth. Cheese is earth. Vegan cheese is earth. Isn't food a monotheistic polytheism? Correct? And if I can really make this less casual and more serious, all of creation is a monotheistic polytheism in the sense this polytheism is humans, is animals, is plants, is stones. The source for all of this is the same oneness. There's a really beautiful icon in the Seeker's Word Book that shows all of that. Knowing that the oneness is absolute and unchanging, then naturally the manyness is relative. It is changing. These differences are relative. They are to be treated relatively. It is only those who are childish. I don't even want to say children. Some children are more mature than adults. So childish. It is those who are childish who feel yellow is the best color. Brown is the worst, where they're feeling this relativity is absolute. Yes. So when we go about living our lives, treat the relative as relative. And that is a way of living this oneness. In our culture, when we greet someone, show me how we greet someone. Elbows, right? First, you bring your hands together, then you bring your hands to your heart, and then you bend your head down, what this is, all of this polytheism, you're locking it down. My body, my mind, my intellect. By living like this, I'm locking in the body, mind, and intellect to go back to that oneness. Does that make sense? If you don't lock your body in discipline, it will go on doing whatever it wants. So lots to reflect on in terms of advaita, oneness. Headspace 88, dhyana. Surreal that we're at 88. Dhyana in English, meditating. Meditating. How did we get to this? Another framework. Purification is the pathway to inspiration, which is the pathway to reflection, which is the pathway to contemplation. That I've already explained. Contemplation is the pathway to meditation. Meditation as a noun is joy, the perfection I earlier described. But here we're defining meditation not as a noun, but as a verb. So nididhyasana and dhyana are synonyms. Exactly synonyms. Now you're thinking, then why is this in the moksha pata like this? Because when you study the Veda, both words will be used. So we thought about this a lot. We can't exclude certain words. Viveka and vichara are so similar, correct? Or manana and vichara are so similar. But those words are used in different ways, so we have to make sure we're clear about those. Adding some more practical elements to this. One cannot contemplate or meditating here without having a subject or knowing what you should be contemplating on. Yes. If I'm going to change my identity, what will I change it into? A lot of people claim that they are meditating when all they're doing is, for those who are really basic in this, they're relaxing the body. For those who are more intermediate, they're quietening their mind. But please remember, both of those are not meditating. Meditating is when you change who you are. And that's facilitated by jnana, or insight of who you are, actually, factually. Now, what's fascinating about this is we've been told who we are 1,000 times. In this course itself, at least 100 times, correct? You are joy. You are awareness. You are existence. You are infinity. You are divinity. Then how come you're not changing your personality to be so? To feel so? We are deeply stuck in an indirect world. Let me give you an example and then I'll explain more. How often do you give your honest opinion to others about their decisions? How they look, etc. Hardly. And when we do it, it's because we're angry. So even when we do it, it comes off in such a wrong way. See how indirect we are. That we don't share with people what is truthful, and we don't want them to share it with us either. You think I want you to criticize me? You think I want you to say that class is better than this class? Just tell me I'm the best and what I'm doing is the best. So we live in such an indirect way. If you want to be a seeker, though, You have to start to dismantle this indirect way of living and be direct. That when someone asks you about whatever, you tell them in a direct way. This still should be done in a priya way, in a metta way, meaning in a beautiful way, in a measured way. And you should expect that directness also. I have found the best way to embrace directness is to live with a guide, to know a guide who will criticize you, but you're so clear that they're doing this for your welfare. Even kids eventually forget that, correct? They forget that their parents are doing this for their welfare. That's what's lovely about a relationship between a disciple and a guide, is there's such clarity of intention. So it's easy to trust. When you are meditating, the evolution of this contemplation is for you to feel, you start off feeling that you are a creature. Then that bhava has to evolve to you are the creator. And that bhava finally has to rest in consciousness. So this is the subject matter of contemplation, from creation to creator to consciousness. We continue. Headspace 89, a very popular word, samadhi. My second favorite band in life. And it sounds like I'm such a kid, you know. This is my first favorite band, and this is my second favorite band. my second favorite band in life, their name is Live, L-I-V-E. And one of their albums is called Secret Samadhi. That's the end of that story. So coming back to samadhi. In English, realization. Realization. And think of some of the words that have just been shared with you. Shravana, the message. Manana, the message is real. Nididhyasana, the message is real and personal. When all of that comes together, that realness takes over. It's real now. There's a rediscovery and so on. The etymology of this word, sam means well. Means towards. Dadati, which becomes di, means placed. Well towards placed. What do you think is being placed? What has displaced us in our joy? The ego, correct. So samadhi is where that which is displaced you, you're placing it back. The ego to the spirit. Another way to reflect on this is a course on reflection. The ego identifies. I believe I've shared that many times. But if you don't allow the ego to identify with anything, what happens to the ego? It goes away. If it's not identifying, it's not an identifier, correct? If I never contemplate, it's not fair for me to call myself a contemplator, correct? So just think about this, is that if I have just held this ego, you can't identify with anything. The ego, I earlier shared, is not thriving. Now it's not surviving either. No identifying, no identifier. So a natural application of this is stop identifying with stuff. Don't see yourself in your car. Don't see yourself on, I could really live in Thailand. Don't see yourself in your own family. Those are all identifications, yes? Samadhi. And headspace 90. I believe this completes the 9th row. We only have one more row to go. We're going to win. That's what's awesome about this course. It's designed for you to win. It's not reality, correct? In reality, you can lose. Headspace 90, sannyasa. Sannyasa, in English, renunciation. I shall share the etymology of this word too. Please know that Sanskrit is beautiful, Sanskrit is useful, but if you have a limited bandwidth, if you have a choice to make between focusing on the language and the philosophy, forget about the language. Focus on the philosophy. Why I bring up so much of the language is because I love it, but also because what I'm doing in this course is different than what you're doing in this course, correct? I'm teaching. So whenever I share such Sanskrit details, if it's too much for you, compartmentalize it. Ignore me like you do most of the time. So do so with that. What does sam mean again? It's the same prefix, SAM. What does it mean? Well, good. Ni, N-I, means down. Asa means to throw. Well down, throw. That's like a wrestling term, correct? A throwdown. They should start yelling out, sannyasa, boom. So well down, throw. Well down, throw what? What you are not. All that you're not, you should throw down. More practically, it is to well down, throw our dependencies. What some people do is they well down, throw their dependence, like articles and beings and circumstances, when what is supposed to be thrown down is the dependency. You do see the difference, yes? Let me put it in one more way. A distraction is a distraction if you are distracted. If I throw my laptop in the garbage, is that going to make me a focused person? I'm going to throw everything out. I'm going to be super focused. All I will be doing is concentrating on the fact that I threw everything out then, correct? But if I renounce the dependency, if my laptop is there, fine. If my laptop is not there, fine. Many students are sannyasis. If I attend class, fine. If I don't attend class, fine. Samatvam yoga uchyate. I should always be balanced. In our contemplation, this last line is very contemplative. Even the notion of renouncing is to be renounced. You have to renounce everything you are dependent on.
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.